Hey everybody, welcome to another episode of Butternomics. I'm your host, Brandon Butler, founder and CEO of Butter ATL. And today, man, we have got a very, very special guest in the building. The one, the only, Mr. John Hope Bryant. Sir, how you doing today?
Hey, Brandon, I'm honored to be with you, man. I've heard great things about you.
Oh, man, thank you so much again for pulling up. This is an honor.
My honor, my honor.
Absolutely, absolutely.
Your parents clearly raised you well.
Hey, man, thank you, man. Shout out to the parents. That's how you can tell, right?
They're making it. When I look at people like you, it makes me comforted because I think we need to make smart sexy again. We've made dumb sexy for way too long. We've dumbed down and celebrated it, and we've got to make smart sexy again. It takes 20 years to change a culture. A quote from my late great friend Quincy Jones. And, we were going in the wrong direction for a long time. And you go far enough to the North Pole, you end up south.
Yeah.
And so we got to make smart sexy. And this Bishop T.D. Jakes told me recently, we also need to make boring sexy, like stocks, bonds, a home, ownership, a stock account, a will. We got to get the basics right. And so I love it when I see somebody who combines culture, cool, and capitalism together, which is what you're doing.
Well, thank you. That's what we aim to do, man. And we're going to get into this. This is going to be a great conversation. We're going to talk about lots of different things. But first, I like to do something with all our guests on here. Now, some people, I don't know how everybody doesn't know. But for those that don't know, we don't do the whole tell us about yourself and all this stuff. One thing we're going to talk about today is AI, amongst many other things. So what I do with all our guests, is I actually asked ChatGPT to write me a bio on you. And I'm going to read what ChatGPT says about you on here. And it's a little long because you got a lot of stuff going on. Okay. But I want you to let me know if it's on track, if it's missing anything. And this is what we do with all our guests on here, okay?
Okay.
All right, so let's get into it. John Hope Bryant is a visionary entrepreneur, author, and philanthropist dedicated to economic empowerment and financial literacy. He is the founder and chairman and CEO of Operation Hope Incorporated, the largest nonprofit organization in the United States focused on financial literacy and economic empowerment. Under his leadership, Operation Hope has directed over $4.2 billion in capital to marginalized communities, established hundreds of financial empowerment centers nationwide. Bryant has served as an advisor to 3 presidents and was instrumental in making financial literacy an official U.S. federal policy under Presidents George W. Bush and Barack Obama. He also successfully led efforts to rename the U.S. Treasury Annex as the Freedmen's Bank Building, recognizing the unfinished economic work of Abraham Lincoln for freed slaves. In addition to his work with Operation Hope, Bryant is the founder of the Bryant Group Ventures and the Promise Homes Company, which is the largest minority-controlled owner of single-family rental homes in the United States. Bryant is also a best-selling author of 6 books, Financial Literacy for All, and hosts iHeartRadio podcast Money and Wealth with John Hope Bryant. He is a CNBC contributor and member of the CNBC Global Financial Wellness Council and the CNBC CEO Council. Recognized as the conscience of capitalism by Fortune 500 CEOs, Bryant's advocacy focuses on transforming economic systems for underserved communities and ensuring inclusive growth for an AI-driven future. He co-founded the AI Ethics Council with OpenAI CEO Sam Altman and launched the AI Literacy Pipeline to Prosperity Project to bridge the AI community gap. His life's mission is to help America live up to its promise, one financially and technologically empowered, one person at a time.
Yeah.
What you think? How did chat do?
It's going to put some people out of business. It is. That was, the technology is amazing. I've had so many experiences with chat. Chat has become like my virtual assistant. I'd pull up on a city or whatever, and on the way to the city, I'd pull up Wikipedia, and I would just do a little research on the city. And then I would create a narrative from that bound me with the mayor who I was speaking with in the city. What used to take me 30 minutes, which before that took my staff 3 days, which before that took 3 weeks of research, now it takes 3 minutes. Now it takes 3 seconds. It is, I was writing something late one night, like midnight, and I was talking to Bishop T.D. Jakes on the phone, who's a great man, and you should have him on your program. And,
I'd love to, yeah.
And I couldn't reach anybody on my staff. It was midnight or Friday night, even though I still call people. And they're like, oh, can we talk tomorrow or Sunday? I'm like, I need to get this done now. I need to submit it on Monday. And Bishop was like, you really aren't that bright. He's like, I thought you were like, marginally smart. We were good friends. He's like, you're not that bright. I said, what are you talking about? He said, you are like the co-chair of the AI Ethics Council with Sam Altman, right? The Steve Jobs of his generation. Yeah, and he's like, John, just go to chat. You're a public figure. And just say, look, I'm writing this piece. Here are the framework of my beliefs. Here's the point, the North Star, the point I'm trying to make. Here are the 10 points that I want to cover. It's John Hope Bryant. I'm a public figure, so you know me. Please give this to me in X number of words.
Yeah.
I mean, if it took 3 seconds, that would be a long time. It was scary. It was as if I wrote it myself. I mean, and I felt bad about it for a minute. I was like, well, wait a minute, is this plagiarism? But no, it's me talking about me, about me. So, yeah, look, Chat GPT is in particular powerful. And I saw the prototype before it was even released from Sam, but and didn't know what I was seeing when I saw it. But this whole AI thing is going to change the world as we know it by 2030.
Oh, absolutely. It's already changing the world. I mean, the World Economic Forum came out with a report earlier this year that said, by 2030, 40% of almost all job tasks are going to be outdated due to AI. And then when you kind of throw in just the acceleration after that, by 2035, it'll be another, probably 20 or 30%. So if you think about it, right, like if you do 10 things right now, 4 of them are going to be irrelevant in the next 5 years.
Yes, it's, look, you said 40% of jobs, double that for Black people.
Right.
Right. Because we're over-indexed on stuff that with a high school education. So if you have a high school education right now and no hustle, you're lazy and you don't have any skills, you're done. You're toast. If you can't reimagine yourself, reimagine your skills, if you're not nosy, God gave you 2 ears and 1 mouth, so you listen twice as much as you talk. If you can't be nosy and curious and learn and relearn, like this phone here, my Apple phone is a 16. But within 2 weeks of me having it, there was a upgrade for 16.5, and now the upgrades are approaching 19. Even though it's a 16 phone, it just came out because even Apple has realized that no sooner they get the hardware out, there are bugs in it, and there are efficiencies, and there are improvements, and they need to constantly upgrade their software. We need to upgrade our software. No one's coming to save us. I enjoy responding to comments on social media because I think, one, people don't assume that it's me talking back to them, and 2, I use it as a place to learn. Like the post is a framework for sub-posts. The comments to me are sub-posts. I use it to educate. So if somebody comes at me sideways, I try to make a point that then enlightens maybe not them, but everybody who may be buying into that silliness. Somebody has got to talk to us straight. This guy was talking about, this guy doesn't care about saving Black people. He just wants to be on CNN. Brother, I'm not here to save you. You're here to save you.
Right.
You've got to save you. I'm not, get that out of here. I'm not here to save Black people, the man on the moon, my Uncle Joe, Pookie and them. Like, if you want help, I'll help you help yourself. This is a James Brown version of affirmative action. Open the door, I'll get it my damn self. But if you want somebody or you expect somebody to come and save you, get you off your lazy duff, off your porch, you're done. You're toast. You were toast before, you're really toast now. So I use that as an opportunity to, he went 2 feet, I went 20. And one of my favorite phrases is just to knock it off. Like, I need people just to knock off the silliness. There was a lady today going on and on about it was a post about AI, and it was an innocent. I was in the grocery store. It was 10 o'clock at night in a Republican conservative community. Just to make it clear, this wasn't folks picking on Black people, and 80% of the checkout lines were self-checkout.
Yeah.
All of the regular tellers were closed except one. I decided to go to the regular teller. I wanted to give them some love. Hopefully, the manager would see I went to a teller with a human being. Maybe that influences them to keep the jobs around a little longer. The the regular checkout line had a self-checkout feature to it, where I had to scan my own stuff, put my credit card. I went to hand my credit card to in the old days, you actually dealt with the checkout register and they processed it.
Everything.
Then we got used to a box being there where you put your own card in. Now you're processing your own goods, and then processing your own payment. And the three people at the end of the counter who worked for the grocery store were just standing there, no one even paying any attention to me. They're talking amongst themselves about their weekend, about whatever. I'm like, look, you don't have more than a weekend, y'all keep playing around, right? Like, you need to act like you're concerned about what's going on here.
Yeah.
But it's just fascinating to me. And so I put this online, and then this lady was like, this rich dude, if he really wanted to help us, he would go to the owner of the grocery store and he would, I said, hey, knock it off. Like, whether you believe you can, whether you believe you can't, you're absolutely right. Is the glass half full or is the glass half empty?
Yeah.
Depends who's looking at the glass. I can't guarantee you that being positive is going to make you a success, but I absolutely guarantee you that being negative is going to make you fail. And this lady's attitude is a failure attitude. I don't know what it's like, lady, I grew up in Compton in South Central, right? I'm literally up from nothing, right?
Yeah.
I was homeless. Were you homeless? Like, you want to talk about the hood, you want to talk about coming from nothing. I probably started lower than you, spent more time under you, right? And now I'm, hopefully an example of a North Star of legitimate wealth creation that could be a model for you. But you're spending so much time focusing on what I should be doing. You're not spending any time focusing on what you should be doing, which is observing the fact these jobs are going away right in front of you, talking to your child, your cousin, and yourself about what your plan is tomorrow.
I don't think people realize, like, I remember when the pandemic hit and I sat there for a second, especially somebody that grew up and worked in tech and did all this stuff. And I told people, I said, I don't think y'all understand. This just moved us forward 3 or 4 years in like literally a matter of months. I mean, even when you just think about the shift in like certain things that happened, everybody was at home. I remember before it started, nobody wanted to do video conferencing. Nobody wanted to do video meetings. Everything was in person. Now all of a sudden, everybody's on Zoom. Everybody's on social media. Everybody's really leaning in. That was one of the things that we did at Butter and really helped us kind of create some distance between some of our competitors. We said, look, like, let's embrace this. Everybody's going to be at home for the next, I don't know how long, in front of their phones and in front of their computers. Like, how do we lean in? And so when you think about even like that shift that kind of happened in that moment, and then you all of a sudden add a accelerator on here like AI and all these different tools, to your point, that is literally getting into everything. I mean, again, whether it's at the grocery store checkout, I went through the drive-through the other day, and I'm not even talking to a regular person anymore, right? Like, it literally popped up and said, "What's your order?" You talking to it like you're talking to chat, and all of a sudden that's a job. Like, we know that a lot of folks that look like us are going to be impacted by this stuff first. Like, how can we, in your opinion, make sure, especially with all the work you're doing with the AI Ethics Council, I mean, you're literally sitting there talking to folks like Sam Altman, who's leading these charges, but how can we make sure that just Black people don't miss out on this gold rush? Because while there is a lot of disruption happening, there's also a lot of opportunity in this too, right?
Yes. Look, to quote my brother Van Jones, 99% of Black people don't know a thing about AI, but 99% of white people don't know a thing about AI either. We're all equally discriminated against. And the folks who are really going to get a hit that there's to be hard, not impossible, but hard for them to recover from quickly, given their standard of living and their burn rate on living expenses, are those in the professions, white-collar professions, whose job is going to go from hero to zero in no time flat. The first thing that corporations are using for AI is reduction of costs. They haven't figured out how to make money on it yet, but there's two ways to make money. Make more or you spend less. They're trying to spend less. Well, if you can knock out entire chunks of $100,000, $200,000 salaries, that's an easy decision, particularly when you think your competitor's doing it. Like, people think that these capitalists are just cruel and unnice people. There are some cruel and unnice people. Most people I meet who are capitalists or business owners are just the most decent people on the planet. They're trying to survive just like you.
Yeah.
And if they want to be Netflix, not Blockbuster.
Right.
Right? I mean, Blockbuster, for those who listening to this who are over 40, Blockbuster was everything. That was your Friday night date.
Yep.
That might have been your Tuesday and Wednesday night entertainment. That was your weekend obsession. You stood in line to get your favorite movie. You bribed, incentivized the manager $5 or a lunch meal.
Just hold it when it gets in.
That's it. Here's your little Subway certificate, man. Hold my movie. Hey, is that movie come in yet? Does it come back yet? You can check, just put that on the side for me. This was the thing. It was the thing. And Blockbuster got arrogant. They got self-absorbed and obnoxious. They started taking things for granted. They took us for granted. Netflix came around, started out very basic in a vending machine.
Yeah.
They came around and said, look, will you buy us? $50 million was the offer. Blockbuster threw their nose up. No, we're Blockbuster. We don't need you. Blockbuster went bankrupt. And now Netflix could buy them with literally 1 hour's worth of revenue in one day. Mm-hmm. Sears, poof. JCPenney, poof. Kodak. There should be Kodak booths in every parking lot in America. Poof. Like, these CEOs are absolutely freaked out. They don't want to be Blockbuster or Sears or JCPenney or Circuit City.
Oh, man.
Hello. They don't want to be the past, which means they need to keep up with the future. And if that means that they got to cut costs, if they don't cut the costs, their competitor will. And when the competitor does, they're out of business or they're behind the So we take it personal. Oh, they're trying to not pay us. No, they're trying to stay alive. Mm-hmm. Capitalism is not personal. Business is not personal. Capitalism is a gladiator sport, and we have better learn it. We've mastered everything else. By the way, I commend you about what you said about what you did in the pandemic. I have a lot of little philosophies that I try to make learning lessons. When you're being run out of town, get in front of the crowd and make it like a parade. So turn your negative into a positive. You can't grow except through legitimate suffering, right? Rainbows only follow storms. You cannot have a rainbow without a storm first. It's actually a scientific fact. So what you did, the pandemic, of seeing the writing on the wall and flip it and make it an advantage was brilliant. I'm a techie. I am given a choice between going to a party and hanging out. My wife is the social butterfly in our family. Given a choice between hanging out or hanging in. I'll hang in. Let me get in front of my computer, behind my computer, or my iPad, and just dream, research, dream, watch documentaries. I'll stay at home on a Friday night, and all I want people to do is leave me alone, right? So I'm a techie. I love technology. I love researching. I love knowledge. I had no clue about a video conference was. I had never done one before February 2020. Mm-hmm. I had not ever. So when I did my first one, it was Coca-Cola. It was February 2020. They had a technology called Blue Jeans. And I'm like, well, Coke doesn't make jeans. Like, what? My brain was fried. What is Blue Jeans and why am I on it? And they had to explain to me this was their selected video conference technology. Yeah. And I was just fascinated. Now I do video conferences all day, every day, as do you. It has become normal in our lives. Now let's go to the future. So Black people, we over-indexed on cryptocurrency. 40% of us invested in cryptocurrency, more than any other race, because we've been hijacked and messed with by capitalism and free enterprise, and we don't trust any of that stuff, banking, business, government. I understand. But trying to find a way around the traditional system, also to get rich quick, we over-indexed in cryptocurrency, got robbed. There are 20,000 cryptocurrencies. By the way, people listening to this, don't trust me. Do it. Use your phone for something smart. It is a smartphone. Stop using it for dumb stuff, right? It's designed for more than sports tickets and concert tickets. Mm-hmm. Research what I'm saying. There were 20,000 cryptocurrencies. Most of them went away. Most of them, it was fraud. It was reg pulls. It was horrible stuff. These were crooks. They were criminals. Yes. People went, oh, what about Bitcoin? Yeah, what about that's one. Okay, then they'll name 2 or 3 more. Okay, that's 3, 4. Fantastic. By the way, even on those situations, somebody else had a block. Well, really, blockchain technology is amazing. But somebody else had a block on that Bitcoin, and when this stuff ran up, and we pushed it up, right? When it went down, we got crushed, right? And so I'm not telling you not to do it. My wife did it. My wife owns Bitcoin. She did very well, but she's got me. So if things go south of the border, she's okay. Don't use your rent money. So what point am I making? We tend to go overboard on things. We get emotional about stuff. Pandemic, remote work. Screw these employers. I'm gonna work at home. I'm never going back in the office. No. Get your black rear end back in the office in the middle of the pandemic as fast as you can. People say, "Oh, John, you out your dang on mind. You don't understand this generation." No, you don't understand capitalism and free enterprise, which is as old as Jesus. In fact, with all due respect, it's older than the story of Jesus, which I'll get to before we finish this podcast interview. Marriage, by the way, is older than the Bible.
Yeah.
It was a business model endowed by God with spiritual values. But it was a business model for families trying to protect their assets by joining them together and so on and so forth. Families, cousins got married. I mean, this is disgusting, but family members, sisters and brothers got married from different houses, different royal houses. Let's come back to this point. Why, John, do you want black people to go back to the office? I don't want you to just go back in the office. I want you to become an irritant in the office. I want you to go in the office when nobody's there. Everybody else is at home. I want you to find the boss's desk. Hopefully it has a glass window just like this. I want you to walk back and forth in front of the boss's office until he says or she says, "Who are you? Why are you here? I mean, there's nobody else here. And why do you keep running back and front? Well, I'm working. I'm doing this. I'm doing that. I'm getting stuff done." That's fantastic. Who are you? I'm Brandon. Well, there's nobody else here. Come in here. Come sit down. What's going on with you? Tell me your story. Why? Well, I want to get ahead. I want to be aspirational. Okay. I got this project. It's not very good, but yes, I'll do it. You don't even know what it is. Whatever it is, I'll do it. Take that project, kill it.
Mm-hmm.
Wait for the next project. Take that project. Kill it. They're going to give you the best project. The wealthy people, the people who've been there for 10 years, the folks with the big titles, they got the great projects. All that's left is the crap, right? Take crap and turn it into cream, right? Mm-hmm. Impress that boss because you're in his face, because it's all about relationship capital, right? You don't have financial capital. You don't have inherent capital, but you can have relationship capital because we are good at being cool. We have mastered cool in culture. We are likable, warm, loving people. Use that as your assets. Stop having the only asset on your ass that's on your ass. Stop it. Knock it off. Go in there and press that boss. Show up at work because love is work. Non-love is laziness. Anti-love is evil. Evil exists, Brandon, but it's very rare. Most people are just lazy. Intellectually lazy, spiritually lazy, physically lazy, financially lazy, emotionally lazy. They don't want to do the work. They want somebody to do it for them, like the guy telling me that he wants me to save black people. My point response back to them is, no, you're going to have to save you. I'm going to give you the ladder. You're going to have to go up it. So we should have been back in the office when no one else was. What's happening? So that people are, "Oh, John, you don't understand. The office is dead." Okay, here's what I understand. There's over $1 trillion of commercial mortgages that came due for refinance in 2024 and 2025. If you think that Wall Street and bankers and some of the biggest companies in the world are going to let their assets go bankrupt because you've got a cultural moment, you out your cotton picking mind. That's number one. Do you think these banks that have this stuff on their balance sheet are going to write that off? $1 trillion? You out of your cotton picking mind. What they do, they pushed it down, they kicked it down the road. They gave it an extension on the loan. They didn't call it. They didn't foreclose it. They kicked it down the road, right? And then what do you start hearing CEOs say? Not just because of the reason I'm about to give you financially, but because of cultural reasons. I need you back in the office.
Back in the office, yeah.
By the way, what's people say? So now people say, "Oh, John, so you're saying it's a game?" No, I'm saying you don't understand the game.
Mm-hmm.
There's a dating app. What's the purpose of a dating app?
Get dates, get connections.
In person.
Yeah.
So am I missing? Like Stevie Wonder, my brother, he's my friend now. Stevie Wonder can see this. Like this. I mean, by the way, Stevie Wonder can see better than most people. That's a whole nother story. That's a whole nother story. Like me and him in the studio at midnight, and I'm handicapping him, thinking that he can't see. And my brother's got a phone with Braille. He reads letters with the Braille machine. He's more competent than most people. The lady I was dating back then, he's feeling on her, trying to talk about, what's your name? Brother, you can see just fine. So what am I saying? I'm saying that the whole purpose of that dating app is to get in front of the person for an actual date. Hello, the purpose of cryptocurrency is to convert it into cash. Hell, let's stop playing this game. Knock it off. So if you have a chance to get relationship capital with decision makers, you're not going to do that virtually. Technology is more efficient. It's not more effective. Quick story. During the pandemic, by the way, the one thing the chat got wrong was I sold the company, Promise Homes. I built it and sold it for $121 million. I'm a modest shareholder now, but I'm on my way actually trying to exit that company. I'm about to start another one. But anyway, when I was selling that company, I had told Henry Kravitz of KKR fame, when we were on 2 video calls, what's going on with you, John? Blah, 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 blah. I also have this company. I'm about to sell it. Oh, that's great. I go to New York in the middle of the pandemic. Hey, Henry, I'm in New York. Now, no one's in his office. Come by and see me. Okay. I go by. We have lunch. He shows me his office. He shows me his model Bugatti in his office. He showed me his views. They just moved into Hudson Yards. By the way, pandemic, he built the building. He's got a floor for KKR or 2. He's got an insurance company that he invested in below them. So he clearly values personal interaction.
Right.
But there's nobody there. He goes into the kitchen, the cafeteria, where his employees one day will be. He's very proud of it. We go to his private dining room. Tell me what's going on with you, John. Now, Brandon, I just talked to him 3 weeks before that. I told him, okay, fine. Blah, 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 blah. I mentioned my business. Really? It's as if I said it for the first time. Is this real estate? Yes. Tell me about that. Hey, Billy, his head of real estate, come in here. Pull up a chair. John, repeat that. This is the 4th time. I play around. I play along with it. I mentioned, Billy, we should be in this business. Brandon, they made an offer. They made an offer to buy my company. Now, it was outbid by somebody else. But the point of that is, they didn't make an offer when I was on virtual.
Mm-hmm.
They walked right past it. It was a 45-minute call. The point was, get off the call. Get through it. Nobody remembers anything that they did during the pandemic. It's all one blur, right? But human interaction, the warmth, the engagement, there's nothing. We're not human doings. We're human beings. So we're not human beings having a spiritual experience. We're spiritual beings having a human experience. Energy matters. Take your energy and your rear end and go in that office. Get in front of that investor. Get in front of that employer. Get in whoever you're trying to impress, right? And make an impression on them. Last point I want to make before I shut up. For your audience is really important. Stop making everything personal. Capitalism is this table. Sorry, I've already said capitalism is a gladiator sport. Business is this table.
Mm-hmm.
You're on one side of the table, I'm on the other. You're the producer, I'm the consumer in this example. Your job is to extract as much money from me for your product while giving me the least amount of value. My job is to pay the least for your product while obtaining the most value.
Mm-hmm.
That's my job. Am I missing something, Brandon?
Nope, you're on point.
That's our jobs. Stop taking it personal. A good negotiation is where everybody leaves that negotiating table slightly annoyed. So we have just missed the basics. Like when the rules are published and the playing field is level, Black folks kill it. Professional sports, the arts, faith, church, politics, the military, where the rules are published and the playing field is level. When we know how to play this game, we absolutely kill it. We master it. No one's ever taught us capitalism or free enterprise. And worse, they've told us it's evil to keep us away from it. right? And I'm trying to democratize this conversation. I'm going to create the biggest infrastructure, the largest economic plumbing first for Black America, then Black and Brown America, and then even poor whites. The bottom half of the society deserves to have a private banker. And I'm doing that at scale. I have 1,500 offices across this country in 42 states, and my goal is to have 15,000 offices. We will become the Steve Jobs and the Apple of economic empowerment. Financial literacy will be the civil rights issue of this generation. And I think that AI literacy should be the civil rights issue of this generation, from the streets to the suites. This is a moment in history, man. This is the world-changing stuff, and it's happening right now. And we've got to upgrade our software. There's no time to be messing around. It's not time to be having stupid arguments. To argue with a fool proves there are two. We've got to knock it off, knock all the stupid stuff out. If you hang around 9 broke people, you're going to be the 10th. I tell people, okay, you don't like what I'm saying. Has the other shit you've been doing worked? Hello? Okay, civil rights, very important. That's just to get people off of you. All civil rights is, that's just to get bad people off of you, bad systems off of you. That don't pay your mortgage. It's not gonna pay your car note. It's red rooms to keep bad things from happening to you, right? The government's gonna save us. Okay, how's that working out for you?
Right.
Right. Okay, this president has made it absolutely clear. I was in Harlem last week, Dr. George Frazier, who's great. And I said to the room, I said, this president has succeeded in one thing. He has completely unified Black people for the first time since the 1960s. I'm sure it wasn't his goal, but we are now we're reading the Constitution. we're reading the Bill of Rights. We want to know what an executive order is. We reading books, right? We're trying to understand financial literacy. Like, whoa, wait a minute. Like people are real clear that we own our own. By the way, I don't like how we got here, but I like the message. Yes, you are on. You've always been on your own. Mm-hmm. Jews realized this 6,000 years ago, 3,000 years before Jesus. Who created modern finance and trading? And it was really trading and business, really, and an economic basis. And then finance came out of that. That was Middle Easterners, dark, Africans, and Jews, who are mostly dark, by the way. Well, the Middle Easterners were in the prime shipping lanes, Brandon, back then. So people just kept them distracted and dazed and confused and kept sort of colonizing them. To this day, they're traitors because they were sort of not empowered, never taught, never educated, unless they found oil. Blacks were colonized because we had the richest soil and at that time in the agricultural age, Brandon, the largest intelligence, which was agricultural intelligence, on the planet. So they couldn't empower us. They needed to get us confused and dazed and dejected, and not to realize that the gold mine we were sitting on, Africa, right? And to get confused about what's going on with slavery, which was all about taking genius of the land and bringing it to the gold of that era, which was places where you could have cotton and all the rest of the things. Jews did not have a country until a few years ago, in the world history, say a few years ago. They were scattered all around the world. But the Jews who went to Europe intermarried. And they start looking lighter and start looking European. They could blend in. They couldn't own land. They learned finance, which allowed them to control the land. What's the number one group of minorities in the world today that's mastered wealth and freedom through self-determination? Jews.
Yep.
I mean, Black folks need a Black Jewish business plan. And by scattering them all around the world, they now have contacts all around the world for global trade. All I'm trying to do in an hour with you is to get us to see what Malcolm X has been saying. I'm typically, I'll tell you about Andrew Young and Dr. King. That's who typically I'll quote. But this is a Malcolm X moment. We've been bamboozled. We've been tricked. We've been fooled. We've been hoodwinked. We've been led amok. That's a Malcolm X quote. Mm-hmm. And we become emotional. And we've been played. Andrew Young quote. To live in a system of free enterprise and not to understand the rules of free enterprise must be the very definition of slavery. So nothing that I've said is rocket science. Even the word white, racial word white, is made up. Whites and blacks were friends when indentured servitude started in the 1600s. And that was a problem for the people who were in power. So they messed that up. And now poor whites and poor blacks 40 years later are at each other's throat. Why? I'm asking rational. Why are we at each other? That makes no sense. Mm-hmm. But this is not meant to make sense. It's meant to make somebody else sense, as in dollars. So I'm trying to suggest a radical movement of common sense. It's what you preach on this show. We need to fight the new fight from the shoulders up.
You know, one of the things you talked about, and I love you again, you talking about just understanding the rules of the game and how the game works. And one of my favorite books is $40 Million Slaves by William C. Rodin. And he kind of talks about that same concept, but he applies it to sports. He talks about who all through sports, right, especially for black athletes all through the years, to your point, we always excelled. Mm-hmm. But whenever we excelled at a certain point, they always found a way to change the rules of the game. Mm-hmm. And, then even the athletes would still excel. You think about Tiger Woods when he was back there kicking everybody's butt, on the Masters and in golf, and they were changing the course around, and he still went there and excelled, mm-hmm. right? And so you see this kind of happening all the time to where even though, again, the rules get changed and we have to kind of, shift around, we still find ways to persevere. What I want to know from you is you've had a chance to meet and talk and sit with the 1% of the 1%. Not just the people that have wealth, but they have power. Mm-hmm. They have influence at a global scale that some people probably can't really even fathom. What is it that they understand about money and growth and wealth and power that we tend to miss out on and we don't fully understand?
You ask excellent questions.
Thank you.
When you go to a wealthy neighborhood, they're quiet. Just like this room, just like right now. So you can think. You go to a black neighborhood, a brown neighborhood, you go to a poor neighborhood, it's noisy as hell. Intentionally. They value simplicity. That's why you often will see them with a t-shirt and some jeans on. They need quiet because it's only in quiet can you create, right? In mm-hmm. peace, that you can create. And creation creates creation. Well, all a patent is a monetized creation, right? They understand you can make more money on money than money can ever make on labor. I'm saying this very slowly so the audience can absorb it. They understand you can make more money on money. Rephrase that. Money makes more money on money than money can ever make on labor. Okay? They understand you make money during the day, you build wealth in your sleep. Because it's compounding. Stocks, bonds, home ownership, business ownership, etc. They understand that if everybody has the information that they have at the same time that they have, and has optimism, willing to play by the rules, do the right things, that everybody, they won't say this, they won't acknowledge this, but everybody actually could succeed, potentially, at their level. Mm-hmm. They're not interested in that part. They're not trying to, here's where we get it wrong. We believe it's personal. They are trying to hold us back. No. They're trying to get ahead, as far ahead, as fast as they can. That's capitalism. That's competitive juices. That's no different than an athlete. It's no different than somebody with a rap or, anything else that you want to covet your knowledge and use your hustle and your unique brand to get as far ahead to distinguish yourself as you can.
I always say to create distance.
Yes. That's what they want. They want to create distance, and they don't mind you having a few snacks once they've created some distance. What I have said is, if you go far enough to the North Pole, you end up south. That if the top 5%, the top 10% becomes the top 2%, the top 1%, and then the top 0.001%. I've said my rich friends now need my poor friends to do better if only to stay rich. So now the world has completely changed. God has a sense of humor. And here's now, I'm going to pivot to the question you asked earlier. Yes, I did listen to you. In what ways are Black people positioned to succeed in this world that everything is changing? We are incredibly well positioned. We've been doing so much with so little for so long, we can almost do anything with nothing. A lot of other folks are about to have a lot of problems. They don't know how to deal with problems. The problem with them is, Johnny got sick at school and got a scrape at 2:00. They're freaking out. We have a crisis every Tuesday, right? Right. We're experts at crisis management. Number two, we fall every day. You can't fall from the floor. We're already on the floor, right? Yeah. So we take no for vitamins. Success is going from failure to failure without loss of enthusiasm. Over it, around it, through it, we're going to get to it. We're great at hustle. We're great at creation. Again, we had a choice to make back 6,000 years ago. Our choice was creativity, culture, and cool. Their choice was capitalism, commerce, and money. We can revise our choices from rocking the mic to owning it. Mm-hmm. So 40% of this, in 1950, America was 90% Caucasian. I had to make sure that number was right in my head. 1951, the United States of America was 90% Caucasian. I want the audience to think about this for a moment. Not the South, the whole country. So with my mentor, Ambassador Andrew Young, who built Atlanta into the only international city in the South, the only mentee of Dr. King ever to become mayor, congressman, UN ambassador, and to create a global economy, which is the 10th largest economy in the U.S. This is not by accident. This is Dr. King's business plan on a city, right? Mm-hmm. And we've proven you can do well and do good at scale. Andrew Young did it. But with Dr. King, with Andrew Young and Coretta Scott King and the heroes and sheroes of that day, what they did was unbelievable because they took, because 6% or 8% of the U.S. population back then converted 90% of the population to do the right thing. Think about this, Brandon. It's crazy. Today, America's 40% Black and brown. Within 10 years, it will be a majority of minorities. Mm-hmm. Black people and brown people and women are 40% of their GDP. 70% of the GDP, gross domestic product, the income of the country, is consumer spending. We're the largest economy in the world. We're the sole superpower in the world. You never had a superpower that wasn't the economic power at the same time in the history of the world. Never has there been a time where a superpower and the economic power needed the population, the diverse population, to continue to win. Demographics are destiny. So you have now a group of baby boomers, 65 years of age, all trying to retire at the same time. You've got more people over 65 than under age 18, and the majority of those under 18 look like you and me. Mm-hmm. The ones over 65 are experts in financial literacy. We don't have any idea what financial literacy means, basically. All these folks at the top, they represent about $150 trillion of wealth. About $100 trillion of that is going to transition through inheritance in the next 10 to 15 years. They're going to give their stocks, the bonds, the homes, the cash to the wives, the husbands, and the children. Mm-hmm. Nobody wants the businesses. These are successful, profitable, cash-flowing businesses with real estate, brands. There's nothing wrong with them. Nobody wants them because they don't want to do the work. That's $15 trillion of existing profitable businesses that don't have a succession plan. We should be the succession plan. Yeah. Hello? Go find the dentist walk into your dentist. And if your dentist is 65, take him to lunch. Go to your law firm. Go to the architecture office. This is not complicated. Just go look around. Go see that. You can always tell a business owner. Go into the. You don't have to look for it doesn't have to be like high tech and $1 trillion. No. These are $20 million businesses, $5 million businesses. This is enough for a wealthy lifestyle. Go find the local anything that's doing well in your town. They've got a brand, a reputation. If the owner looks 65 or 60, become their best friend. Right? And at some point say, I'd be interested if you're interested in trying to buy your business, keeping your legacy alive. I've got hustle, I've got intellect, I've got a degree, I can put a management team in place. As you know me for the last 6 months, we have a good relationship. I've got people skills, I've got warmth, and the owner goes, "Yeah, I really like you. Yeah, you really do. You remind me of my children. The only difference is you like to work, right?
Right.
But I don't have the capital, so I'll get a bank loan or I'll get Wall Street to back part of this. Would you be willing to take back some paper? Would you be willing to carry part of this?" And of course, if I screw it up, it comes back to you. If I default, you get the business back. What's the downside in this, right? I just gave you, I've never done this on anybody's show, but I just gave folks, $10 million worth of game for none 99. This is not complicated, but we're looking for love in all the wrong places. So demographics are destiny. I've said on many shows when people talk about DE&I, knock it off. We're fifth on the list. Why are black people the poster child for DE&I? We're fifth on the dang on list. Why? Because they want you to be the poster child so they can take race, conflate it with liberalism and woke, whatever the heck that means, and put you into this box and then dismiss you. Ignore DE&I. I love diversity. Right? So my point is, if this economy is consumer spending, and we're increasingly the majority of the country, and we spend money. We all know black people spend money.
All day.
Then this economy actually needs us. Why are we just protesting some and boycotting some store? Don't just boycott them, buy them out. Find every black product on their shelf. Coordinate that. Go coordinate a 3-hour buyout. Buy out everything they've got, then send a letter. We need to become more sophisticated in our approaches. Send a letter to the CEO, the chief financial officer, the chief buyer, right, and the lead director on the board. We just bought out all your products that are black manufactured. Please reorder, and let us know when you reorder. We'll be back. Now you've got respect. Now they say, "Oh my God, okay, this is an emerging market. It's not black people. This is green. It's always been Brandon. Has always been green." It was green in slavery. There's such an opportunity right in front of us. We've got to get out of our depression. We've got to get out of our pity party. We got to get out of our woe is me. We've got to stop navel gazing and admiring the problem. There's no time to be pissed off, right? Be pissed off later, right?
Yeah.
There's no time to be emotional. You need to get on your game. Not you. You're already on your game. We need to get on our game. This is our time. And that's exactly why they want you distracted. It's exactly why they don't want you to focus. This is an incredible opportunity to get educated, to own a business, to start. Look, I did a business plan. I tried to remove all of the excuses that we could have. One of the last remaining things was I said, let me create a business plan for Black America. Mm-hmm. Then I said, well, some other people are going to complain that I'm being a black nationalist, which I'm not. So I created a business plan for rural America, poor white. Then I created a business plan for women, a business plan for Native American Indians, a business plan for Asians. I covered every group and a business plan for America. By the way, people listening to this can download it. Go to Dream Forward, John Bryant, Dream Forward, or John Bryant, Operation Hope, Business Plan for America. Find it, download it. It's there for you to look at it. And I laid it out. Here's why you shouldn't obsess about the government. If they got the government to do reparations, they're really not doing it now, right? But if we did, if we did, by some miracle, I'm gonna throw a number out, Brandon. $300 to $600 million over 20 years. Sound about what maximum that we get them to write a check for. $300 billion. Sorry, I don't know if I said billion. $300 billion to $600 billion. That's a lot of money over 20 years. Sound about right?
Sound about right.
Okay. They really owe us $41 trillion, but that would bankrupt the country. Okay, so let's be serious about it. Okay. But if all we did was raise our credit score, 100 points, because our average credit score amongst Black America is 620, which means Pookie and them and Boo Boo and all already at 500 are the predominant. And you and me, we have 700 and 720, and we're just being pulled down by an average. So it's 620. If we raise our credit score to 720, that's worth $750 billion in wealth creation in 20 years. If we then took the credit score and went to go buy a house, the number one way you build wealth in America, so 44% of us own a home. Mm-hmm. If we just move, but compared to 75% of our white counterparts, if you just move that number from 44% to 62%, nothing miraculous of Black home ownership, that's $800 billion, Brandon, separate from the $750 billion. Those two numbers alone, it's 1.5, 1.6 trillion in comparison to the obsession with the government that might, if they had a deathbed conversion, give you 300 to 600 billion over 20 years, which I don't think they're going to ever do. They're cutting things right at the moment. You then say, well, let's add AI onto that, artificial intelligence. That's $1 trillion minimum. Then you add buying these businesses that I just mentioned. 6% of the 15 trillion, less than that, $1 trillion. So these are conservative numbers, right? Brandon, that's $2.5 to $3.5 trillion of wealth creation. And none of that's the government. And none of that's difficult. I'm so excited about the future, but I'm also frustrated because I think most of us are depressed, we're distressed, we're distracted, we're frustrated, we're living a surviving mindset when these people you're talking about, the 001 percenters, are living in a building mindset. So there's surviving, thriving, that's middle class, and building winning. I wake up with a winning mindset. I don't even know what a negative thought is. Right? Right? But that's where they are. They're in the building winning category. We're over here in the surviving category. We got to get out of it as soon as humanly possible.
Well, one of the ways you're helping people get out of it too is, again, we've got the green socks in here. We just came out of Financial Literacy Month. You've helped over 10,000 children here in Atlanta alone open up child savings accounts. What do
Thanks to the mayor, by the way, Mayor Andre Dickens.
Mayor Andre
and
Dickens.
Before that, Keisha Lance Bottoms.
Absolutely, good friend. What do parents need to understand about making sure their kids understand financial literacy? Because again, to your point, a lot of these parents are in survival mindsets, right? They're starting to change, and I think what we start to see too is it's this next generation that's coming up where there's a lot of real opportunity, especially if they can get a head start on things. For this stuff, when I grew up, man, I had to go to the library and use the Dewey Decimal System to go find information. Right. Now, to your point, all this stuff's right here on a cell phone, and right. I think our kids are going to laugh at us one day when we tell them, I used to go on this thing called Google and type in something, it would give me a bunch of links, and I have to search through them and figure it out. Now all the information is right there. I think for the first time in almost 20 years, Google searches are down because of ChatGPT, because now you can get the information with context, right?
Yep.
So I think we're doing the work to start to stand up this next generation so that even if it's not the ones that are happening right now, there's going to have the ability to really lean into some of these opportunities, right?
Yes, no. Yes, everything you said. No, your children shouldn't be laughing. Our children shouldn't be laughing because they're missing a piece called critical thinking skills, right? When you and I were growing up, you went to McDonald's and there were literally 1, 2, 3. There were numbers on the cash register, and the person had to add the numbers up. Mm-hmm. And then, when later on, when we were in our teens, there was a photo on the cash register of the fries because people weren't math literate, right? But it also made things easier. Now we're just going up to the screen and just punching the stuff in. We're doing the work ourselves, and those jobs that used to be behind the counter are gone. There's just there are quality control people and so on and so forth. When you and I were growing up, we had to do math long arm, long hand. Mm-hmm. Then I'm making this quick. They had the calculator. Then they had sophisticated calculators. I remember I used to have this very long. It was very cool back in the day to have a big calculator. Remember that?
TI-85.
Exactly. Exactly, right? Now, the computer technology will do the calculation for you. That should be freeing you up to do higher level, higher frequency thinking, critical thinking about stuff that only you can do.
Mm-hmm.
But my fear is that that's not freeing us up to do that. It's allowing us to dumb down. We're just not thinking at all. This is the risk. We just stop thinking. We stop being curious. We stop being nosy. We stop understanding the world's changing right in front of us. We stop questioning everything and understanding that love is work. Whatever you love is going to drive you crazy. You love your husband. You love your wife. They want to get away from you at least once a month, right? You love your children. You want to divorce from your kids at least, once every 3 months. You love your job. You want to quit from it. I want to quit from Operation Hope. I can't. I'm the founder, right? Whatever you love is going to drive you crazy. That is the definition of love. It's a struggle. People don't want to struggle. Mm-hmm. They want it easy. That's a prescription for failure. So we have got to embrace the technology, but understanding the job of living is still here. Like, there's going to be a risk here with the AI, which is different from the other technologies. You're going to have hundreds of millions of robots in the next 5 to 8 years. I didn't say 50 years. Hundreds of millions in the world of robots with armored and embraced with AI technology that are going to be doing things like being a waiter, being a waitress, cleaning rooms at a hotel. I mean, you see the little robots right now cleaning your carpet. That little round thing is going to grow up to be something that looks human.
and not to, but I love you said that, because that's what I don't think people really understand, right? Is that even when it comes to AI, it's one thing right now when you're doing it on your phone. What people don't really understand is when you take a step back and think about how technology works and how the world is designed to interface with human hands and the human body.
Yes.
We have doors that you got to turn the knob on and open. We have stairs you got to go up and down. Like, they're not going to reinvent that stuff.
No.
What they are going to do is reinvent these robots.
Without the attitude.
They can do the same thing as a human. Now you got a whole different ballgame.
So girlfriend who's at the restaurant, what you want? My order? right? She's out. Now there's gonna be a robot there. Well, and that'll be just automated with a panel. But there'll be situations where anything that the receptionist, anything that there's a risk of lawsuits, drama, attitudes, like low frequency BS. That's gone. Yeah. They're gonna just automate it. There'll be AI agents. This sounds like some science fiction stuff. I'm serious. There's gonna be groups of AI agents doing tasks in your house, at your apartment building, in your parking garage, in your office. That's going to neutralize a low frequency, low educated, employed person who was already complaining about their low paying job. They're gonna take that off of your hands. Oh, you don't want this low paying job? Don't worry about it, right? There won't be a job. The risk that we have in society now is, what do you do with all these people? What does society do when you don't need people to drive the economy? I don't know, 20 or 30% of the economy as we know it can be automated. Yeah. And if you have high school educated people, by the way, the biggest population of poverty are poor whites, not poor blacks. Mm-hmm. Again, how do we become the poster child for poverty, right? Yeah. This is everybody's problem. And the president has told poor whites, don't worry about it. I got you. Okay, I'm waiting to see that. I want to see that. By the way, your audience will hate me for saying this. I need him to win. I need the president to succeed. But there's not 8 of them. There's 1. The election's over, right? Mm-hmm. If he wins, we win. If he loses, we lose, right? Now, I don't think that things he's doing right now are going to work. right? Which is why I'm writing articles and trying to put it under his nose and trying to get the Secretary of the Treasury to listen to. I mean, I don't think that a lot of stuff they're doing are going to work. I've got a calculator. I can do math. Math doesn't have an opinion. But I don't want to speak Chinese in 20 years. I don't want to be speaking Russian. I'm not interested in speaking Korean, North Korea. These are countries that want our way of life. We're arguing with each other. They're trying to take us out, these other countries. Mm-hmm. So some presidents you like, some presidents you don't like. Some presidents are great, some presidents are horrible. We have a whole history of the range of these things. Yeah. Good news is they'll be gone in 4 years or whatever if you don't like them. But this is what we have at the moment. But this particular administration doesn't even have the memo, right? So they're not focused on the things I'm focused on about raising the bottom third and using them as capital, taking the bottom third of society. And as we did 100 years ago with poor whites when they came from Poland, when they came from Italy, the Jews, all these groups that are now mainstreamed as Europeans were poor whites who were stuck mm-hmm. at the bottom of the economic ladder, and they needed what's called the New Deal to lift themselves up. And then you had the Marshall Plan, you had the GI Bill, which helped 99% white folks. You had the Homestead Act in the 1862 that allocated 10% of all American land to struggling whites who became stakeholders. And I'm not asking for a handout. I'm saying we have got to find a structured way that we don't go broke as a country. And God has a sense of humor. Now, my rich white friends need black and brown and poor white people to succeed too. And this we have to work out because right now, politically, that's not the message that's being sent. There's a message of separation and division. And, all I know is that's going to make the economy slow down. It's going to lower GDP. I mean, it's just math to me. So after they get through with this political fight, or whatever it is that they're doing in Washington right now, I think it can't last for more than a few more months, mm-hmm. right? It just can't. Everybody's exhausted. But then they're going to figure out, we actually need the other 60% of the country, right? And that's what we need a business plan. That's what I'm trying to be ready for. We have got to figure out, Brandon, whether we're better together as a country. And I think we are. I've been to 100 countries. Yes, this country is racist in many ways. My second great-grandfather was a slave. My second great-grandmother was a slave. My great-grandfather, R.B. Smith, was a sharecropper. I'm not immune to the disgusting abuses in this country. But I couldn't have become John Hope Bryant anyplace else. I couldn't have become John Hope Bryant in Germany or France or Japan. There's no ladder for a guy who has my complexion there. I don't care how smart you are. Maybe you don't go to the bottom in the Nordic countries. In other words, they've got a socialist model, which is really a taxing model that allows you the government tax you 50 to 70% of your dollars. So they make sure that people at the bottom have food and health care and all that stuff. But you don't see us at the top either. So you're not at the bottom, but you don't see us at the top. In Europe, an inner city in France called Paris, you don't see us hanging out, not owning,
right,
in Paris. You don't see us in the top of companies, right? The inner city in the UK is called London. We can do this all day and all night. Black and brown people are in the suburbs. They're out way away from the action. Look at America. Black people are in the hood. We are right in the inner city. We own it, and we're giving it away. Man, we need like 3 episodes to cover all this ground. Like we should be buying up land right here in Atlanta. Between Midtown and the airport's a gold mine. Why are you trying to rent something where people don't want you, with money you don't have, in a place you don't understand, in a reality that won't last, with money that you really can't afford? Why are you renting in Buckhead? I like Buckhead. It's great. But why are you renting in Buckhead? Because you got a doorman and all his floss and stuff? Knock it off. Take your rear end to wherever you want, Midtown, South, hood adjacent. right? Buy it, rehab it, and rent it. Right? Buy it, rehab it, and live in it. You do that 3 times, you'll be a millionaire. Then you can go rent something uptown in Buckhead if you want to for the weekends. Like, what's wrong with us? Just do. I can't say what I really want to say. Just do what successful folks are doing. Just model that. Again, I'll end where I started. If you hang around 9 broke people, you'll be the 10th. I mean, what's complicated about this? It's an old Southern saying, because you're talking about parents before. It's an old Southern saying, no matter how much I love you, my son or my daughter, if I don't have wisdom, all I can give you is my own ignorance. Mm. So we pass down bad habits from generation to generation. Out of love. Out of love. We're ignorant on purpose.
Chairman Bryant, look, you first of all, if you want to have 3 more conversations about this, John, if you want to have 3 more conversations, I'm personally
I'm tired of hearing myself talk, brother. Don't worry about it.
I would love to have you come in here and talk more about this. I want to be respectful of your time. But as we wrap this up, the question I have for you is, we've talked about a lot of things.
We didn't cover nothing on your list, probably.
But you know what? We covered some of the stuff. We coming back. We covered a lot of things, though. One of the things I want to ask you before we get out of here is, your name is John Hope Bryant. Mm-hmm. And so hope is a part of this. My question for you is, what gives you hope? What do you see that gives you hope about where we are as a nation? Because again, I love the way you talk about it's not about red and blue. It's not about black and white. It is about green, and I do believe that myself. Because again, that's what helps divide. That's what helps keep things going.
That's Butternomics.
That's Butternomics for you, right? So when you do think, like, where do you see hope at? Like, what gives you hope for the future? What gives you hope for where we're going as a people and as a country?
This is God's world, brother. The Lord sits on the throne. If you're religious and if you're Christian, now I've got on my wrist here, I've got every religion. I've got Christianity, I've got Judaism, Buddhism, Hinduism, Islam. 95% of these religions are exactly the same. Mm-hmm. Here's a shocker for you. Jesus Christ is mentioned in every one of these religions. It's mentioned in the Quran more than it's mentioned in the Bible. Jesus. By the way, money is mentioned more in the Bible than anything else. 2,000 plus mentions, by the way. People don't know that. And Proverbs says to be poor is not to not have anything. To be poor is not to not do anything. And lazy hands make a man poor. That's Proverbs in the Bible. People don't mention that part. Mm-hmm. But if you're spiritual and if you're Christian, and if you believe in the Lucifer, the devil's a fallen angel. He's a punk. God gives the devil permission to exist. He ain't shit. Excuse me, I don't know if I can say that on your program. Good. That's French. It's French. Let's go one step further. It's light outside right now. Darkness is defined by light, not the other way around. Badness has failed goodness. Fear is much less powerful than hope. Okay, people say, John, that's nice theory. Put it into practice. Okay. The book, The Tipping Point, Malcolm Gladwell, University of Illinois study, proved at 5% of positive role models, every community stabilizes. Not 50%, not 75%, not even 30%. 5% of positive role models, every community stabilizes. The tail wags the dog. That's how powerful hope is. But here's a historic fact. Never in the history of the world, Brandon. The world's 5 billion years old. Organism life 4 billion years old. Neanderthal life 200 million years old. Modern human life 160,000, 200,000 years old. The life of enlightenment, let's say 6,000 years old. Jesus Christ 3,000 years old. North America 400, 500 years, depending how you calculate it. Never in the history of the world has there been a group of bad people who've ever succeeded for more than a few years. They come, they tear up everything. The light shows up. The darkness goes away. They go into the dustbin of history. Caesar, his throat was cut by his own senators. Osama bin Laden, Stalin, Hitler. We can go down the list. Yeah. They come and they go. Putin has overextended his expiration date because he controls the whole country, but he will be gone soon too. But Russia is a rounding error in the world. I mean, they're irritant because that's the business is being a thug.
Yeah.
They're like the only gangster. Them and North Korea are the only gangster countries in the world. But I mean, their GDP is a rounding error in the world. There are no consequence to anybody if they weren't the complete jerks. This thing called fear and evil is exhausting. People want the light. They want hope. But if you don't have hope, they're willing to take fear. That happened in Germany after World War I. When Germany tried to take over the world, they got their ass whipped. They had to pay reparations. Here comes this guy in 1925 saying, it's not your fault, Germany. The world's blaming this on you. It's not your fault. You're the victim. They put him in jail temporarily, Hitler. And then but people wanted to have an excuse. They wanted to believe it wasn't them. And he rose up and people saluted him by name. Yeah. And for a while, it was like all hope was lost. And then one day he just died as a little small, lonely man in a bunker.
Is it dustbin of history?
I just think let's not get over exercised about this moment. God still sits on the throne. This is his world, and only we can screw it up. So we needed to sit in the light. All enlightenment is you find the light and you sit down in it, and you respect the fact that God gave us the ability to breathe, and he wants us to do something with our life other than just to serve ourselves. So we are the greatest asset, and we are the greatest liability. He's not going to deny your strengths. I mean, I don't agree with the president. I would acknowledge that he's a brilliant marketer. I don't think he's a brilliant man. I think he's a brilliant marketer. And I think if you go far enough to the North Pole, you end up south. He will come and he will go. But we've got to have a business plan. The rest of us
right.
have got to have a business plan for the rest of our lives. For the rest, what are we here for? Are we better? I said it earlier. Are we better together? And in the meantime, let's see if there's opportunities in the middle of all this chaos that Washington is throwing out. By the way, there are immense economic opportunities in the middle of all this disruption and chaos that is being swirled around in Washington. So you don't have to wait. You can get involved with it. But also the GDP, your show is huge. Yes, it's known everywhere, but it's huge here in Atlanta. This is the 10th largest economy in the whole country. There's no Atlanta any place in the world. Mm-hmm. It's the Black Ozzy and Harrietville in the world. This is Wakanda, right?
Yeah.
And every race gets along. What's my point? This is where GDP comes from, not from Washington. Go volunteer in your school district. Go help raise your kids, right? Go be a mother or father, not a baby daddy, a baby mama. Go help the school board. Go help the city council. Go help your mayor. Aren't you busy enough? Pay your car note. Don't you have stuff to do? Like, knock it off. Why is everybody obsessed with what's going on in the rest of the world? If you just obsess with the things I just mentioned, and then go buy a house in the hood, rehab it, find yourself some place to live, get yourself a will, get yourself an insurance policy, buy yourself a house, start a business, invest in somebody else's business, and do that plus raise your kid, you'll be trying to find time to sleep. My mother always said, you never want to be the old guy in the club. So before you kick me out of here, I'm going to leave. I'm out.
Let me tell you, I remember I was spending some time in LA one time and I was at a club and I said, you know what? Yeah, I don't want to be those guys, but you are not that guy. You are, again, thank you so much for coming out.
If you see me in the club, I own it.
And that's right. You know what? That's the way to think about it. That's what these people need to understand. And we really appreciate you coming out. But more importantly, man, I really appreciate the fact that, like I said, as somebody that, from your point, started, at the bottom and has built your way up, you've not only been on the other side, but you've seen, you've learned, you've kind of gone behind enemy lines and brought information back and sharing it with folks. So thank you so much for doing that. Thank you so much for sharing this on Butternomics. We appreciate you. And, with that said, we out, y'all. That's the pod.
Black capitalists matter.